We'll have a close-up of the face. So I'm going to bring that up to the camera now. So obviously if you're of a nervous disposition, I'd probably look away. Hello, and welcome back to March Bain's Midlife Dolly Crisis. And a while ago, you might remember that I unboxed my Ursula doll, who I am obviously very obsessed with. Ursula needs a friend, and I did buy this at the same time that I bought Ursula because they were selling them all off. And it is another one in the line of the Hasbro Villains, and it is Cruella De Vil. So, the packaging is one of those sort of like eco ones where it's basically the whole thing could just be recycled, which is great. And they have this kind of weird sort of flap thing here, so you can see the doll. So there she is in there. But we're going to get her out and have a look and see what we think of her and all of her things. Because basically there's a kind of surprise element in there. But obviously it's one of those sort of surprise elements that's not actually much of a surprise. There's also the whole sort of like using this special mirror to try and see images on her outfit and stuff. We'll have a go, but it didn't work very well with Ursula. So anyway, so I'm looking forward to getting her out and obviously seeing her in her original outfit. I'm also looking forward to redressing her, maybe in a similar way that I did with Ursula, but I'm kind of thinking probably black and white is a good kind of combination to stick with her, but we shall see. So please join me as I unbox Cruella De Vil from the Hasbro Villains collection. Okay, so here we have the box for our Cruella De Vil doll. So she is part of the Hasbro Disney Villains series, and there was a few in this series. At the moment they seem to be selling them all off, or at least, you know, the ones that I've seen seem to be going at quite a cheap price. So they had Cruella, they had obviously Ursula as well. They also had a Maleficent doll who has these kind of weird wings attached to her. So I would have really liked that, but unfortunately you can't remove the wings. So trying to redress her would be a bit of a challenge. So I've basically got, obviously I've got Ursula and I've also got Cruella, who I'm going to be unboxing now. So this packaging is completely plastic free, so it can all be recycled. It's got this flat thing at the front where you can actually see the doll. So I know that there's always kind of concerns when people can't actually see what the doll looks like. You want to make sure the doll has a good face, like the screening is good, the clothes are fine and stuff like that. So at least with this you can actually see the doll. The only thing is she is actually exposed, so you can really get your fingers in there if you wanted to. It's a bit weird, I suppose, but it's kind of better than having the plastic, I guess, because it means it's going to be a lot easier to recycle when we're done with the packaging. So obviously on the front here we've got this image here on the corner of Miss De Vil. There she is. So that's her in her Disney form. And we've got these kind of like these mystery items which aren't really much of a mystery, but there we go. We've got silhouettes of those. We've got the image of her driving her car, which, you know, that seems like quite normal driving for around this way, I think. So have a quick look on the back of the box. So this is an image of her not actually complete. So this is her without the surprise things. So at least they are a bit of a surprise because she's not pictured with them. So that's kind of interesting. We've also got this image here, which I don't know if you remember with the Ursula doll. This sort of weird, it's almost like a sort of not a magnifying glass, but it's kind of like an eyeglass. And you put it over things and it shows images basically. So obviously we'll try and have a look at that, but it didn't really work very well with Ursula. It says here on the back, with her sinister style, Cruella De Vil knows how to be fiendishly fashionable for every occasion. And she does look very elegant on the back there. She certainly looks a lot better than she did in that front picture when she was driving. So yeah, I'm going to get her out of the box off camera, and then we'll have a look at her and all the all the surprise elements that she comes with. Okay, so I thought I would show you part way through. So I've removed her from the box, which was quite easy. I basically just opened the top and she kind of just sort of slid out. So here is the doll. So she has got these ties on her, but they are kind of like twisted paper. So they're quite strong, but obviously again, they can be recycled. If we have a look on the back of her, as you can see, it is literally all sort of just paper. There's no plastic there. There is actually tape here. So it does actually say on the label, plastic-free packaging, and then it's got kind of a disclaimer underneath that says, accept tape and glue. So obviously we've got tape there, but on the whole, yeah, it's great. All this can basically just go into the recycling straight away. So I'm going to get her out properly, and then we'll have a look at this thing here, which didn't really work the last time, because basically you're meant to kind of remove all the surprise bits out of it. But yeah, I'm going to get her off it first, because I think it's going to be easier to do that rather than try and get the stuff out while she's still attached. Okay, so I've taken her out, and I've basically just moved the box away for a few minutes so we can just have a very quick look at her. So the quality of these dolls, it's not outstanding. The base dolls themselves seem okay. I mean, they're very kind of limited with what they can do articulation wise. So her head goes from side to side, it kind of wiggles like that, and you can put it kind of up and down. So there's that. Then we have the arms, which go kind of up and down and obviously back and forth. There's no articulation in the body, but then we've got the legs, and they aren't that great either. They basically just kind of stick out. They'll move forward. Her dress is quite tight, so she can't really do an awful lot of posing, and they'll kind of go back, but they don't go back that much. I guess for the price that I paid for her, she was like, I think, €8 or something, so it's really not a lot at all. For the price that I paid, you know, you can't expect miracles, but originally I think they were a lot more expensive. And the actual clothes that they're in, this fabric is just horrible. It's kind of like that weird papery kind of fabric. I mean, you can hear it. If you can hear it rustling, it's not a great fabric, I don't think, not really. So yeah, so that is the fabric of that. This is a bit better in that we have this kind of faux fur collar, which is sort of separate, which you can also remove. So that's kind of her without it on. She has gloves permanently on her, these red gloves, because they are basically painted on. They feel kind of weird. They've almost got like a rubbery texture to them. The hair does have product on it, so I might give that a bit of a wash, I think. I had to do the same thing actually with Ursula's hair, and when I did actually wash it, lots of little bits of hair came out. It's almost like they'd been cutting it while she was in the box, which possibly did happen, I don't know. We'll have a close-up of the face. So I'm going to bring that up to the camera now. So obviously if you're of a nervous disposition, I'd probably look away. So here we go. So this is, I'm trying to get her in the light as well. So here is Cruella. So she does have a very kind of like an animation face, because obviously, you know, she is an animated character. So it's a very kind of like, almost like a caricature, I suppose. She has got very high cheekbones. She's got a very kind of square jaw looking thing there. There's almost a bit of a kind of like the Joker from Batman about her as well, I think. I think it's that kind of really sort of the stark whiteness of the face and the kind of weird shaped head and things like that. But it is kind of what you would expect of Cruella De Vil. So she has got green eyes, which are, again, very kind of animation. She's got some green and purple eyeshadow above her eyes. And she does have some blushing on her very high cheekbones. And then she's got a sort of a deep red lipstick there, which don't quite match the gloves, because it is a kind of a darker red. So it seems to be a darker red on the kind of like the lips here, but then it kind of fades out as we go into the kind of the rictus grin there. She has little ears there, but there's no piercings or anything, so presumably she doesn't have any earrings. Her hair is very nice. I like the way that it's styled, but I don't like the fact it's got product in it. It's actually not, it's not as bad as some dolls where they've literally got sort of like concrete hair, but you can definitely feel that there is something in that. So, let's have a look and see what accessories the doll comes with. So the accessories are in this kind of weird bit of the box. We've got all these kind of flames here. Now I have to confess, I don't know if I've seen 101 Dalmatians. I think I have, but it's a very long time ago. So I don't know if fire is a big part of her story or not. I don't actually know. I think I did read the book at one point. And actually the weird sequel, which is kind of like a bit sci-fi, which was never made into any of the movies. But anyway. This is basically where all of the surprise stuff is kept. As I say, when we opened Ursula, I don't think it was very good because they seemed to have dropped out, or they were kind of... It wasn't very functional, put it that way. This is the weird sort of mirror thing, which I'm going to remove now. Actually, I'm going to cut that. There we go. So this, you're meant to kind of hold up to this and see lots of images. Oh, there is actually something there. So that looks like it's a car. You probably can't see anything. I feel like I'm doing a Ouija board or something. You might be able to see it, I don't know. So there's like a car, in front of a car there. There's something there, but I can't really tell what that is. And then I think we've basically got images of what we're expecting behind these kind of like windows. I think one of the problems is this cardboard is very thick. So it's kind of hard to actually get into it. It's not quite... It's just very difficult. You know what? I'm actually going to... Oh, well look, here's one. I think what I'm going to do is, I'm basically going to just rip the back open and get all of these little bits out, because that's going to be a bit easier, I think. Okay, so here we go. So these are the little sort of surprise things that were in that sort of box bit of the inner box. So let's try and undo these. So this is the biggest one. So this is kind of, I'm going to get the dog so it's going to be easy to show you. So this is, whoops. Okay, so that's fallen on the floor. Okay, so this is kind of a weird thing. So it's almost like a skirt that goes over the dress. And it has got a fastening thing on the back, which you undo. And then you basically put it around her. It's almost like the dress has sort of like a peplum around it. Obviously it is plastic, it's not fabric, so it seems a bit of an odd piece to have. It actually doesn't look that bad. It's kind of a shame that the dress itself isn't the best fabric, because that might actually have looked better. But yeah, so that is that. So it's kind of like a sort of a belt, or you know, skirt or peplum or whatever you want to call it. So that is that. We've then got some shoes here. So let's have a closer look at these. These are actually quite detailed. So yeah, they are quite detailed. They've sort of got sort of jewels on them and jewels on the heel, and obviously they're kind of like one flat colour, but there is sort of like details on there. And if you if you were of a mind, you might be able to sort of like paint the sort of the jewels in, just to kind of elevate it a bit more. But yeah, so they're quite unusual. We can put those on her. Here are her feet here. Interestingly, her body seems to be a similar kind of shade to Ursula. And she does have a high heel foot. Obviously her body is quite a different shape to Ursula's because she is Cruella De Vil after all. So she is sort of like, she's sort of quite slim and Ursula was a big girl. So yeah, so they obviously couldn't use the same mould or anything like that. Certainly not with these two because they are a bit sort of like extremes. So there are the shoes on there, like that. So let's have a look and see what else we've got. Oh, so we have 2 pairs of shoes. It seems a bit odd. I don't know why they would give her 2 pairs. So we've got a red pair of shoes as well. So again, these have got quite a lot of nice little details on them. And the front of them is basically like the front of a car, which I don't know if you're going to be able to see. I will try and get a decent photograph of them at the end. But yeah, so obviously she's very into driving quite badly from what I can gather. I don't really know what's going on the back here. There seems to be some sort of, maybe it's a flame or something. I'm not sure. But that's kind of going up the heel there. So there's those. I'm actually going to leave the black shoes on, I think. And then we've got this bit here, which I think is, yeah. So this is a handbag for her. It kind of looks like a cake to me. I'm not sure if it's meant to, or some sort of jelly or something. So it's a white handbag. It's very simple. It obviously doesn't open. It's just a piece of rubber. It's got this sort of like, I don't know, like this sort of moulding on the front, and the bottom bit is in black and the rest of it is in white. There's no other details. Although it's got that thing on the back as well, that hasn't been painted. So that is just white there. Can she kind of hold the bag? Yeah, she can kind of hold it like that, I guess. So that is that. So I have put the red shoes on her there. So they're more of a sort of a standard high heel, I suppose, as opposed to the other ones which seem to have a bit more sort of detail, fancy detail on it. But they do obviously match her gloves then. So there's kind of like the red element there as well. So this is her in her stock outfit, which is, actually it feels a bit cheaper than Ursula's did. I think it's just that this has seemed particularly papery, whereas the other one at least looked a little bit fancier. But we're not going to keep her in this. We're going to change her. So let's see what we've got that's going to fit her. So I've put her in this. So this is the jumpsuit which I previously dressed one of the fashionistas in. So it's obviously black and white. It's not the most amazing quality, but it's certainly better than what she was wearing. I quite like it because it is the whole black and white theme, which I think suits her quite well. It does actually make her a bit more sort of like, almost like, I don't know, like some sort of clown, like a harlequin or whatever. I don't know. It's a bit odd. I've put this thing back on. I'm not sure if I like it or not. I've tried to do something with the fur collar thing where it's not kind of attached around her neck but sort of under her arms, and it kind of stays on. In a way, I wish they hadn't done this with the gloves because it means that she's always wearing them. I don't know if there's any way you could, I don't know, remove the paint or whatever. I don't really want to start fiddling around because once you start doing that, I think all sorts of problems are going to occur. So we're kind of stuck with that at the moment. I guess you could put her in something red. That might be nice as well because then it would really go with the gloves as well. And obviously she's got these shoes. I would imagine trying to sort of change out the shoes on her would not be that easy. So at least we've got a choice of either these red ones or the black ones. So that's kind of good. It's kind of good that we've got a choice. So what do you think of Cruella I would like more sort of like clothes for her. I think I like this, but I actually preferred it on the Fashionista that I'd put it on. So I might need to sort of rethink it, or try and get her something, or have a dig around and see what else I can find. So let me know what you think of her down in the comments below. Let me know if you've got her and what you've done with her. Have you restyled her, or have you kept her in what she was wearing? I couldn't do it, because I kind of thought the Ursula one was a lot better than this. This one just seems bad. And considering that I think these dolls were a lot more expensive originally, if you paid a lot of money for this doll and this is the kind of thing that they were dressed in, I think you'd probably be crying by now. But yeah, so I'm really pleased with her. Obviously, I didn't pay a lot for her, so you know I'm quite happy. And she's a fun doll. When I look at Ursula, she always makes me smile, and I think it's going to be really nice for Ursula to have a friend, and just to see what sort of bawdy adventures they get up to together. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. And please share this video if you know anyone who is interested in being a villain. So yeah, so until the next time, I will bid you farewell, and I hope you have a great week, and I will see you very soon. So bye for now.